Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to my staircase. It's hopefully a quiet corner, the birds outside, but hopefully not today's gentle wind in the midst of blue skies. Thank you for continuing to support and to pray for the work of Viva and for myself personally. It's very much appreciated. Just to give you a brief update, this is my 60th day at home that started just about the same time as the heavy lockdown came in Uganda. The President has begun to ease restrictions, and the first thing that was of great significance was that yesterday private vehicles were allowed to move with 3 people only when they were wearing masks. Before that it was vehicles that had emergency stickers only, and we were glad that Crane managed to get 3 or 4 stickers, not sure how many, that allowed the drivers and key staff to move around, to deliver food, to move to government meetings, to help with filming of, filming of radio. You don't do that, do you? Filming of TV lessons for children, and the recording of radio broadcasts for safeguarding and for learning. So there's many staff who have been very busy being out and about, whilst the rest of us have remained at home and have done all sorts of things. Report writing and thinking about the future, and trying to develop some new skills that will put us in great stead for the future. We've also spent quite a lot of time designing some new virtual training because we recognise that the way that we work has to change. Now in Uganda there's about, I think, 237 cases that have been reported and no deaths. The population is about 2/3 of the UK. They've tested just over 80,000 people. If you compare to UK testing, they should have now tested about 2.3 million people. Obviously the difference is that this is a poor country. The President knew that, and that's why he locked down on the first case. And we see what the results are. We know that most of the cases that are now coming are from the cargo trucks, which are the only things that are allowed to cross the borders from the neighbouring countries. He describes that to stop cargo would be suicidal, in and out. So he's tried to keep the economy moving, but it's brought its consequences as well. From the neighbouring countries, Kenya, Tanzania, where there are deaths that are reported, although if you're following the news, you will know that Tanzania is really not reporting COVID as a particular issue. We also work in Zambia and Zimbabwe, where there are similar situations. The general poverty of the country means that there's inadequate testing going on, and then tracing of contacts. And therefore the countries have been in lockdown restrictions are beginning to lift, and we wait to see what happens. As we know, we can't stay in lockdown forever. As much as some of us might feel disappointed that right now we're not with the families that we should have been with at this time, but we've made the most of it, and we're blessed. We've been well provided for, and we're not complaining. But for many people it's been very, very difficult. If you're on a daily wage, you have no savings, what you earn that day is what you eat. That's a very, very difficult situation to be in. Most of those countries there's been some sort of government food distribution, but even in South Africa, where we also work, and there's some greater level of income than the other 4 countries, it's still immensely difficult. People are hungry, and of course hunger and a lack of income is one of the main drivers of domestic violence and abuse, which has no doubt been on the increase. We've responded to a number of cases, not of the children that we've worked with, gratefully, but from others in the community who have been reporting abuse and asking for follow-up. We are hopeful that the work that we've done with our children and parents has at least had some impact at such a time when maybe they've found alternative ways to work together and to live together in close confinement for a very long time. But we need to continue to pray for their safety, and of course, how do we handle now, moving forward, all that is yet to come. The government in Uganda has said that schools for upper primary, as in the last class of primary, and for O-level and for A-level, and undergraduates who are to sit their finals, are to reopen next week, and children are to enter and then not leave for the duration of term 2. It's an academic year that runs with the calendar year. One of my fears is that when children are locked down with the teachers, that there is likely to be an increase of physical and sexual abuse, because normally the parents are allowed to visit, people can go in and out, we would go in and out on a fairly regular basis, and that is going to be restricted. Of course, then there's the other side of what do you do with all the other children who are still at home. We've been very busy, or some of my colleagues have been very busy, recording TV lessons for the children and radio lessons, been doing that with the government, and printing and distributing government materials. Now that private vehicles are allowed to move, we can do more of that. But of course, as with the rest of the world, we need to learn to do things differently. That's an immense challenge for all of us. It's no less of a challenge here, although I understand that in rural communities there is little understanding or acknowledgement of what this means. The cases that are coming through cargo. People feel that maybe it's not going to impact them, but those cargo routes where the truck drivers have stopped, of course somebody serves them, and so it continues. So possibly we have restricted major outbreaks at this stage, and it will be a miracle for it to continue this way. But do pray for us, because we can't just go back to normal. We're now being asked to re-plan for the next 6 to 12 months with our budgets and our plans and our activities. And any of you that do those sorts of things know that you can't do that quickly and overnight, but here we are. We're in this situation and we press on. So we appreciate your prayers. Pray for the families and the children especially, that abuse would not happen, that they would find somewhere to go, somewhere to run, someone to call on when they need that help. And then pray for us as we plan, and pray for the leaders that they would have great wisdom. Thank you very much indeed.